Hey guys, welcome to another video by Digit.in, and we have with us the new Realme 2 Pro. Now Realme has launched 3 devices this year. It's a relatively newer brand and this is evidently the most powerful of the lot. The retail box doesn't give off much information about what the phone brings. So we're going to quickly unbox the phone to give you a glimpse into what the Realme 2 Pro holds. So this is, I think, the box for documents. I'm going to open it later. So we have unboxed the phone before this video and to set up the phone so as to give you a much more detailed info of what the phone brings to the table, and I will quickly set it aside for it to turn on. Meanwhile, let's see what you get here. This is the SIM card remover tool, and inside is a transparent clear case. If I put it here in the phone, it feels quite durable, quite heavy, and yeah, it removes it basically. Oh, this flap is quite interesting. It will help in controlling water damage in case your phone does fall into a bucket of water, but otherwise it's going to make the phone kind of scratch resistant, take a few of the damage in case it falls, and then some more. Otherwise you get here, which are the documents that I know none of you reads, so I'm just going to set it aside. And apart from that, you have a charger unit. It's by Oppo, it's not by Realme, and a micro USB cable. So these are more or less everything you get out of the box. And so yeah, the phone is ready to begin, and based on what I can see, it looks a lot like the Oppo phones with the ColorOS 5.1 powering this one. So without much to go on, I can tell you that the new notch is, as far as I had reviewed in the Oppo F9 Pro, it's quite handy that way. It takes up a lot less space as compared to the wider notch, but there are a few disadvantages of having this notch around, which I am going to get to a bit later. But you can see that it leaves a lot more screen space for you to explore. Even the bezels on this one is much lesser, and it looks a lot more seamless compared to any other mid-range phone out there right now. I am going to take the cover off. Oh, it's actually quite tight and sits like very snugly fit into the phone. And yeah, overall it seems like quite a solid build. It has a glass design. It's actually the third Realme phone this year to come with a glass display, and I think Realme is improving with every new release their glass designs. And this one, it's a black color variant, and it's quite shiny and it's quite prone to having fingerprints and smudges. I have managed to smudge the back side quite easily with holding it for just a few minutes basically, but nevertheless it's quite good to hold. I kind of like holding this phone. It's kind of tall and it's very difficult to reach with one finger at the other end, so you will have to use 2 fingers out here. But otherwise it's the extra screen real estate will come handy when you're watching or binging on your latest favorite series. Otherwise, there's the Snapdragon 660 under the hood, which is the latest top of the line mid-range chipset by Qualcomm and is powering devices like the Mi A2 and a couple more other mid-range phones. But whether this will be as affordable as the Mi A2, well, I'm actually unboxing it before the launch, so I don't know the official pricing as of now, but I'm hoping it will be priced under 20,000. Well, the startling and the most surprising aspect of this phone is that it comes with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. Now that's a first for a mid-range phone. What are you going to do with 8 GB of RAM? I have no idea, but I'm sure you're going to be rest assured that you will have a lot of RAM left even if you stress the device too much. Well, gaming should be a breeze on this one, considering the capability of the Snapdragon 660, and to that lot of RAM, there should be no frame drops whatsoever in your PUBG session. Otherwise, you get a 12, I think a 16 plus 2 MP rear camera that seems to be quite proficient in taking shots, is actually fast and can process the shots pretty quickly. Otherwise, the front camera, you get an 8 MP shooter that can also take portrait shots. There's a lot of AI enabled features sprinkled around in the camera app, like these things. These are portrait light effects that are directly borrowed from the iPhone. Even the camera app looks a lot like the iPhone, although it's a much it's more bare bones than, say, an iOS device. Otherwise, this has a time lapse feature, a video, photo, portrait, sticker, and an expert mode as well, where you can control the white balance, the exposure, ISO, shutter, and the likes. Otherwise, this phone is more or less comes down to what the pricing of it is going to be, the success for it. But otherwise, I can see a lot of good things happening in the Realme 2 Pro, especially considering other devices that are topping off at 6 GB of RAM. This one goes a step higher and offers you 8 GB worth of memory, but the usage of 8 GB of memory is still dicey. Otherwise, there's a lot more nifty tiny features to explore in ColorOS 5.1. It's actually a big improvement over the older ColorOS versions that we have seen in Realme phones, and there's a lot of new improvement. It makes better use of the notch, I would say. The notch has been one of the most useless inventions of recent times in smartphone industry, but thanks to a shrunken size, you get a lot more real estate now in this area. What this area now does is, when you're watching a video or watching a movie, it's going to house all the shortcuts out here for you to quickly reply back to an incoming message without pausing your video. So that's there as well. Now, there are a couple other features. There's face unlock as well, and yeah, you can see this fingerprint based unlock, face unlock, and there are a couple other features like you can enable like change around with the navigation keys positioning. There is an assistive ball, which basically you quick tap and it can do things for you, and a smart sidebar that comes up only when you can enable it only to come up in landscape mode, and is complete something like what Samsung does in its Edge displays, where it displays you more information when you swipe out like this. Yep, there are other gestures and motions. You can take a 3-finger screenshots. It can recognize when you're driving and change the settings automatically, and some more. So yeah, these are more or less all the features that we have to show about the Realme 2 Pro. We will be exploring this device, we will be testing out the device a lot more for an in-depth review, so stay tuned for that. As of now, these are all that we had to say about the Realme 2 Pro. If you like this video or have something more to say about the Realme 2 Pro, let us know in the comments, and we will try to address them in our review later this week. And for more videos like this, do subscribe to digit.in, and if you've liked this video, don't forget to like it. Thank you so much.